Bruder. Hi, my name is Logan Bruder, and I will be discussing Adidas for my Global Sports Governance project. Start off with is my executive summary. At first, I'll be talking about background information about Adidas, how they got started, where they started, how they got big, when they became multinational, stuff like that. Next up will be Adidas' overall goal. So, what does Adidas want to be? What do they strive to be one day? They're already a huge company, so what else can they strive for? Well, we'll discuss that. Next thing, I'll also do a SWOT analysis of Adidas, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to Adidas. Next thing is a pest analysis, and the final thing will be barriers that Adidas must face or have faced in the past. So let's get started. First up is Adidas background information. Adidas was founded in 1949 in a small town in Germany. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name because I don't want to get it wrong. But that's where they started. They slowly grew there, but it was in 1954 during the World Cup where Adidas really blew up. They provided shoes for the German team that year, and they were going against the Hungarians, who were heavily favored in that game, but the Germans won. And it was a huge upset for the Germans. They ended up winning that World Cup that year, and it was huge for Germany and huge for the entire world because it really got to show off Adidas and what they could do. So after that, Adidas kind of became a household name, and they became international after that because the whole world was watching Germany beat a team with these new shoes. Next up is Adidas' current vision. So I'm going to read it off to you. To be the design's leaders with a focus on getting the best out of the athletes with performance-guaranteed products in the sports market globally. So essentially what that means is they want to be in the front. They want to be front runners. They want to be the leaders of innovation. They want to innovate their products. They want to be the first. They want to be that's what Adidas wants to be. They want to be innovators. They want to be creative. They want to be reliable. That's what Adidas is about, as we'll discuss later. In terms of culture, Adidas main and where they are, Adidas main headquarters is in Germany, in that same town. At the core of Adidas culture, they always talk about 3 C's. That's their big thing, which is creativity, collaboration, and confidence. And in terms of collaboration, they want to be able to collaborate with a company or an athlete and know that Adidas will give their absolute best. They will do everything they can to make that collaboration happen and make it the best they possibly can, and are willing to recognize that if they mess up, they are more than glad to learn from that mistake and move on. Next thing is confidence. They want to inspire confidence into their customers or their athletes they're collaborating with, or anybody really. They want people to walk into an Adidas store, buy Adidas shoes, and be confident that these Adidas shoes are going to work well, or their apparel or anything will work well for them. And the last thing is creativity, which I just spoke about. They want to be creative. They want to constantly have new things. That's what Adidas is all about. They want to be constantly innovating. Next up is Adidas' current mission statement. The Adidas Group strives to be the global leader in the sports goods industry with brands built on the passion for sports and sporting lifestyle. So essentially what that means is they want to be the front runners. They want to be number one in front of other brands like Nike, who we'll get into later on. Other like Puma, Under Armour, all these sports brands, they want to be ahead of them. They want to be the front runner, and they want to be the leader. Next thing is how big is Adidas? Well, Adidas is the 3rd largest apparel brand in the world. Apparel, not sports apparel. Apparel brand in the world with a brand value of $16.5 billion US. They have factories all around the world. 55% of their products come from China, but they also have factories in places like Vietnam, India, America. They have factories a lot of places in the world. Adidas also has roughly 62,000 employees worldwide, which is a lot for a company to handle, but Adidas can do it. They're also the 2nd biggest sports apparel company behind Nike. Nike's always been their biggest competition, and Nike probably will continue to be their biggest competition for a while. Next up is how does Adidas receive, and also how do they pay their employees? Most Adidas revenue comes from the sale of merchandise and their own retail activities, selling their shoes. Shoes has always been a big part because, back in the World Cup, shoes is what Adidas has started on. That's the foundation of Adidas, and they've stuck to it, which can also be a weakness we will discuss later. Since there are multinational companies, they have a lot of positions that can get paid differently. This is how that's how employees get their money. So, for example, the CEO, Casper Rorsted, makes roughly $7 million a year, while a normal employee at Adidas will make around $8 an hour, which makes sense because big corporations like that tend to do that, and it only makes sense that someone who's folding clothes in a store doesn't make nearly as much as someone who runs the entire business. That makes a lot of sense. This is their Adidas corporate hierarchy, starting from the top at CEO all the way down to the bottom. So CEO, CFO, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, General Counsel, Global Head of Brands. It just goes down and down until you reach the $8 an hour employee. Next up, I'm doing the SWOT analysis, and first we're going to start off with the negatives. First up is threats. I always talked about this. It's competition, and especially in this industry, competition is huge. Nike and Adidas have one of the biggest company rivalries right now because it feels like Adidas is always trying to catch up to Nike, but Adidas wants to be that company that Nike is right now. They want to be the one innovating. They want to be the one that's the one leading the charge, not Nike. But that's what Adidas strives for. Counterfeit products. This also can be a problem for Adidas. For example, just making a shoe and then throwing on like 2 stripes instead of 3, stuff like that. That can be a big problem for them. Sell them a lot cheaper and made out of the same stuff. That can be a big problem for Adidas. In terms of weakness, they do have a narrow product line. Like I said before, they stuck with the shoes for a long time. And they obviously have other sports apparel and clothing, stuff like that. And other than that, that's really all they have. And it could affect Adidas in a negative way, not being able to branch out a little bit out of the just mostly shoes. They have few endorsements compared to competition. When I say endorsements, I mean like endorsing athletes. A lot of athletes sign with Nike rather than Adidas, and Adidas, kind of takes that personally because Adidas is the one right behind Nike. But that's probably the biggest reason Nike is ahead of Adidas right now is because they have more endorsements. More athletes want to go to Nike rather than Adidas. Next up is SWOT analysis positives. So opportunities, we have a growing industry. Sports has been a growing industry for a long time now, and it's still growing. A lot of millennials really like yoga, and fitness in general has been booming for a while now. And people want to buy clothes, people want to buy nice shoes, running shoes, yoga pants, all stuff like that. And it's a growing industry. And then potential for innovation. There's always potential for innovation in the sports industry. Making better shoes, better materials, better. You can make anything better in sports. That's the beauty of it. In terms of strength, it's Adidas. They're a powerful brand. They're very recognizable. You see those 3 stripes and you immediately know it's Adidas. So they have that going for them. We also have the distribution of products. So meaning that they're super multinational, but they're really good at being able to distribute their products to multiple countries and always having stuff on the shelves for people. Next up is the pest analysis for Adidas. In terms of political, there could be potential trade wars. They're based out of Germany. So if there's a lot of tension going around countries, that could be a problem. We also have economical, which is the impact of currency fluctuation. This can be a problem because remember when I said earlier that the Adidas is worth 16.5 billion US dollars? Well, in some countries that could be a lot more or it could be a lot less. It can be difficult to keep track of that. And social is an increase in yoga and body fitness. I said that earlier. People want to get out more. People want to work out. Body fitness is important. Yoga is blown up these past couple decades, and it's becoming important. In terms of technology, e-commerce is becoming huge. Buying stuff online. You could go online and buy a $150 shoe from Adidas right now if you wanted to. E-commerce is becoming huge, and Adidas is on that. They've been on that for a while now, and they'll keep improving at it. Popularity of digital devices. For example, Fitbits, or Fitbit was the first of its kind. Fitbits, or just watches that monitor your athletic ability, stuff like that, has becoming very popular. In terms of legal, there are potential hackings because everyone's moving online. There could be potential hackings due to the move to the internet. That can be a problem. We've seen it happen here in America with the pipeline, and it could potentially happen to Adidas. In terms of environment, one of the hardest things, because like I said, they have factories all around the world, and that could be a problem with managing their operations on the environment. Factories aren't the greatest for the air, and Adidas definitely needs to do something about that. Most companies need to do something. Most corporates need to do something about that, but it can be really tough because they've been doing it that way for so long. Next up is cultural differences. So this is where I start talking about barriers that Adidas has to face every day. First off, Adidas is all over the world, so it can become difficult to sell the right products in the right places. For example, you can't sell the same yoga pants you sell in America to the same people you sell in for like China or Vietnam. There's different cultures, different atmospheres, and girls can't be wearing that stuff, and that can be important. Another thing is religion. Religion can be huge. During games, if you're promoting a game or you're promoting a certain sport at the time, different religions may not support that game, or they may not. It can become messy trying to do one advertisement for a lot of countries. That can be very difficult because cultures and religions are very different. And politics can play a huge role in sports. For example, in 1938, there was a thing called the Hitler Games, where we held the Olympic Games in Germany whenever they were still the Nazis. And obviously, that politics do sometimes seep into sports. That's not what the Olympics are about. The Olympics are all about bringing people together in the name of sports. That's the beauty of the Olympics. That's why I've always loved the Olympics. And politics do get in the way sometimes. Another thing is tariffs. So like taxes you have to do for trading. Since Adidas is a multinational corporation that is in Germany, their main firm is in Germany. Tariffs can become a problem. Trading with certain countries can become a problem because their tariffs are just too high and they can't afford it. Like I said before, currency from different countries. I've already talked about this, but that can be difficult to manage when different currencies are constantly coming in, and that can be difficult to manage. And that is all I have for Adidas and my project. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good one.